All right, then, Wolverhampton preview. This is Full Time Devils. Macola's with me today. Peaky's here, and making her debut is Noelle on the preview. Macola, let's start with you, mate, and talk about performances under Ole. I think we can all agree that they have been gradually getting worse. Got the win against Watford. I don't think performed too well. Would you agree with that?
I thought Watford performed very well. I think it'd be unfair to say United were just crap because I thought Watford played very good football. But yes, when you look at it, Manchester United's performances in the last couple of games since Paris Saint-Germain have taken a dip. Now, is that because of the games that we've played in? Obviously, we had Watford, who's a difficult game. We had Wolves, which is a difficult game away, and we had Arsenal. And that maybe Ole has just got his tactics wrong, or is it just something where we've seen a little drop off in performance, a little drop off in fitness. We've had a lot of injuries in the team as well. It could be a combination of things, but what we need to see is a reaction and a change and a spark. We've got another difficult game coming up against Wolves. So we need to see a performance from the team here. I know they lost against Burnley and they might have one eye on the FA Cup semi-final. But our performances have dropped off since that massive night in Paris now. I can understand for a game after, and I could kind of excuse the Arsenal defeat thinking, you know what, after Paris, I can get it. Yeah. But after the international break, and with that coming, of course, that's another thing which kind of unsettles the rhythm of things. Maybe we can give them a little bit of an excuse, but we need to see us getting back to performances. If we're winning, though, that's not a bad thing. But we don't want to be, we want to be seeing good football. That's not that I don't think we were trying to play good football. I heard Louis van Gaal say that we play, some sort of defensive football and just look to hit teams on the counter attack. I don't think that's the case. I think every time Ole sends a team out, he's sending them out to score goals and win games. I don't think we ever have the mindset of not trying to score goals. I just think its performances have dipped off, which is a different thing completely.
Yeah, the performances have dipped off. Peaky, what would you say is the main reason for that, mate? Unfit players, bad tactics?
To be honest, I think it's going to be a combination of a few things. I think obviously we started the season, and don't forget the pre-season that the players would have done under Mourinho was obviously geared up towards the tactics that he was looking to play throughout the season. So, we were conceding possession to a lot of teams. We were being outrun by a lot of teams. Now, since Ole's come in, some of the stats that you see where, we're now outrunning a lot of teams, and we're up there for the amount of work rate we're putting off. So the players haven't been conditioned for that style of play as such. So maybe that's where a few of the injuries are coming in as well. Until we finish this season and he has a full pre-season with his squad and gears them up and does work on them in that sense, hopefully that will kind of cure the injuries, because we've got quite a bit of a high press on now, and players are working hard off the ball. So I think that's one thing. Tactically, I think stripping back all the emotions of absolutely loving Ole being at the wheel. He's like, one of our own there, stripping it right back. I think tactically, he's not polished. He's not the finished article, and he'll pick that up in time. And I think he's got the right kind of team around him to do that. He's not afraid to reach out to Sir Alex Ferguson and lean on him for a bit of advice. So that will all come. But one thing I have kind of noticed is whenever we've gone up against a team who play three at the back, with the two wing backs who say drop into a five when they're defending, we do seem to struggle a little bit. Saw it against Wolves, and then again at the weekend. I don't know if it's that false nine is the right kind of tactic to play when we come up against that kind of three at the back, or whether maybe we have to utilise Lukaku a bit more in them sort of games. But I think it's a combination of a few things. But I'm sure we're all keen, and I'm sure Ole's keen to get us back on track and playing that attractive style of football as well.
Okay, I don't want to seem like I'm having a go at him too much, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Let's face it, we're all happy that he's got the job and that he is officially at the wheel now. But the performances of late have not been too great. So, Noelle, would you put a lot of the blame for that on Ole's door?
No, I definitely wouldn't. I think the players, they have dropped off a little bit. Obviously, tactically, Ole hasn't really, maybe he's made a couple of mistakes, or maybe he has rushed players back from injury. But no, I think the players have dropped off, and I think when Paul Pogba isn't consistent, I think that puts an effect on the whole team. Pogba playing great, we play great. If he has an off day, people would say, oh, he wasn't noticed on the pitch. So I just think a lot of weight holds on Pogba's shoulders when it comes to our performances. I wouldn't put the blame on Ole. I think the players just need to keep stepping it up and keep working hard.
Is that a good thing, though? You say that like a lot of it falls on Paul Pogba's shoulders. He is still a young lad, and that's quite a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, I know, but I think from coming off winning the World Cup, I think everyone kind of just thought, okay, this is now Pogba. He's a leader, and he shows it on the pitch. And realistically, when he is playing his best, we're playing our best football. He's scoring, he's assisting, and I think when he's not doing that, it just looks like, it's like we need that creativity from someone, and Pogba is that guy who normally produces. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. So we are going to go on and talk about whether style is the most important thing at the moment or just getting those points in a second. But first, let's talk about a positive, because it has been a relatively negative start to today's preview. So, Peaky, talk to me about the defenders. I mean, that last game, I thought, against Watford, I thought Smalling and Jones were just sublime. Very rarely do I say that.
Yeah, definitely. And look, I know, like, obviously, even in this conversation so far, we've sort of spoke about the attacking kind of style of play, but let's not forget we were leaking goals, and defensively we weren't doing too great. But since Ollie's come in, I don't know, what he's obviously done. He's put his arm around a few players, and he's got that confidence back. Lindelof, albeit obviously injured at the moment, but before the international break, he was kind of coming into his own. The weekend was fantastic. Smalling and Jones come in, look solid at the back. And Luke Shaw, for me, last few games, I think he's been my man of the match for the last sort of 3 or 4 games. I think he's, kind of finding his feet again after falling out of favour under Mourinho. And we're seeing that attacking direct threat that he can offer as well moving forward. But yeah, it's really, really good to see us defending very, very well as a back four as well.
Noel, what did you make of Phil Jones and Chris Smalling over the weekend? And I mean, it looks like Jones will stay with the new contract and stuff like that. But do you think there is a chance for those guys to redeem themselves at United?
Personally, I'm not the biggest Phil Jones fan. I'm sure I can speak for a lot of us. But I feel like he played a really well game. He played well. I just felt he has a bunch of bad games, and then he'll go and he'll play brilliantly. So it makes you feel bad for just giving him stick basically. But I think he played really well, and him and Smalling, they do work well together. But personally, I do prefer Lindelof as opposed to Jones.
Smalling and Jones, Adam, what did you make of them against Watford?
I'm not one of these guys that's going to criticise them because they're Smalling and Jones. I think they played very well. In an ideal world, we're not relying on Smalling and Jones to start for us. Hopefully that's the case next season. I'd like to see us like Noel says, I'd like to see us build that defence around Victor Lindelof. But things can change quickly. We said last season we could build it around Bailly, and look where we are now. So I think we've still got a lot of rebuilding to do in the defence. Like going back to what Noel said as well, every time with Phil Jones and Smalling, we kind of think, they're doing okay now. We can, let's stick by them and give them another chance, and we don't need to really invest that much. And then, in 2-3 months' time, Phil Jones will get an injury and Smalling will be back in his bad form, and it's kind of a cycle with them. But they have done very well recently. I think they've benefited from a positive environment, a positive way of playing as well. I think we're always looking to go forward. We're not soaking up pressure, and then because when we were playing a lot of football where we were just side to side passing it, allowing it to stay there, and the pressure builds. And when you're building pressure on the likes of Smalling and Jones, they're inevitably going to crack. Obviously, I think they do well when they've got a big man and they've got to deal with him. They did well with Troy Deeney the other day, but I'm still not convinced. I'm still not convinced at all with them, and I still think we've got a lot of improvements to do in defence, although they did play well. But like Peake said before in the first bit, I think a lot of the injuries we're getting, a lot of maybe the lack of consistency could be down to the style changing as well. Not having a pre-season. We know Ali tried to take him to Dubai for a little bit, which I kind of think in his mind he was treating that like a pre-season to try and get him up to track. But when you're in the middle of a season and you've got international breaks and you've got this, that, and the other, and you've got games coming week in, week out, it's difficult to change things straight away. So I still think, Ollie's style of football, Ollie's tactics, we need to give it time. But he has definitely benefited the defence because we're not conceding goals. And people talk about Jose's football as defensive. It was negative, or it was maybe passive, but we leaked goals, and it's not like we weren't leaking goals. So massive improvement.
Personally, I actually wouldn't really mind Phil Jones and Chris Smalling staying at Man United. I just think there should be 3 centre-halves ahead of them in the team. And at the minute, I think we've only got one, really, that is definitely ahead of them in the team. So we need to invest there still.
And them, I think we're all right.
Yeah, and whether they'd even be happy with that sort of role.
If you call on Smalling as a backup,
yeah,
not a bad guy.
Nah, not a bad option. Not a bad option, mate. He's a very good centre half. Okay, then let's go on to style over substance. I remember having this conversation when Jose was in charge. It started to do my head in after a bit, and I was one of those people that was saying at this point in the season, especially, getting results is all that matters. It doesn't necessarily matter if we're playing too well. Plenty of times under Ferguson in the past, we wouldn't play too well, but we'd come out with a scrappy win at the end. However, Ole Solskjaer, I felt, got the Manchester United job purely because of the style of football he's been playing and because it's so much more attacking, so much improved, so much more exciting to watch. So surely for him, a little bit more has to be put on performances. Noel, let's start with you. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I think I've been enjoying the football a lot more under Ali. I think before I was getting frustrated just watching, and now I do see us attacking more. And it is brilliant, and I do think, I hope it keeps up. Yeah, it's been. I used to be giving out at the TV now, and I'm just cheering it on. I'm just well into it. And Ollie he's been great. I think the players have really taken it on board, and they're really enjoying the free flowing kind of attacking football that we've been playing. Even you've seen players, they've come out with their shell under Ole again. They may have gone into themselves under Jose Mourinho, and now you're seeing them come back, and they're really impressing. So I'm really liking this style of play.
At this time in the season, Peaky, should we be putting too much on our actual performances, or does it just all have to be about the results now? Let's get top 4 and go as far as we can in the Champions League.
See, I think obviously given the circumstances of this season, how we've had Ole come in sort of in December, where we were well off top 4, 11 points off, didn't think it's going to be possible. Now we're at a stage where look, we're pushing for top 4. We've got the semi-final of the Champions League at stake. So I think it's a bit of a tricky one because we've got some big games coming up. We've got City to come to us. We've got Chelsea to come to us in the league, that is. So at this stage of the season, I'll say it's just about dragging these boys over the line, and just getting into that top 4. We've got the whole of the pre-season then to build and to focus on what will be Ole's style of play. I think he'll be keen to inject some of the sort of styles that he would have been familiar with playing under Sir Alex Ferguson. I think he kind of cracked that with the away games that we've played, sort of the big away games we played in the league, Arsenal away, Spurs away, where he's gone to them and played them on the counter-attack. That looked like the old style of United where, we were happy to soak up possession for the first 15, 20 minutes, knowing that we would create chances, knowing that we will get a chance to counter-attack. And it looked like that sort of style of play us United fans have been used to, under the Alex Ferguson era. But I think at this point of the season, what he's going to be keen to be getting into Champions League, I think that will then obviously help him, obviously with signings, over the close season to attract some names that he would want to offer them Champions League football. So I definitely think at this stage, it's just about getting over the line now and hitting them points to get over into the top 4.
Adam, we're here again, mate. This stage of the season, style or substance? What's more important?
Results are important at this stage of the season. Look, people are going to say, if Jose was playing this kind of football, it would be, people would be calling for his head and all this, that, and the other. People weren't calling for his head just because of the style of play. Obviously, that was one of the reasons, but there's many other factors to why he lost his job. Results was part of that, which we have to admit as well. The results under Ole have been better. Obviously, last 3 games, we've lost 2 of them. We're out of the cup. That's disappointing. But with the running now, we have how many games? 7, 8 league games left to go. We've got 2 massive games in the Champions League. Could potentially have another couple there if we get through. So it's all about results at this stage of the season. It's kind of what we've all touched on before. For Ole to implement his style of football and to change, to have a complete shift from Jose Mourinho to Ole Solskjaer from that passive football and pragmatic football to attacking football, It's going to be difficult to implement. Trying to get a high press into the team after we've been passive for so long. That's maybe why we're seeing injuries. Players are going to get, their fitness is going to cause problems. So I can see why the performances have taken a dip. So results are definitely more important, but when the time's right and when the games are right, we need to see good football as well. And we've got plenty of home games coming up, so there's no reason why the football has to be bad.
Okay, we're going to be going a little bit more in depth on the Wolves team and talking about our Man United starting 11s next. Okay, then starting 11s. Peaky, who are you starting against Wolves, mate?
Right, I'm going to go for the same back line. De Gea in goal, same back four as we saw on the weekend. So Luke Shaw, Ashley Young, full-back position, Smalling and Jones at the centre of defence. I don't think he's going to rush Lindelof back. I think, he'll kind of start with the same centre pair and having done well on the weekend, relatively well. Matic and Herrera holding in the middle of midfield with Pogba, Martial and Lingard ahead of them. And I think Lukaku will come back in. From Ole's press conference, he said he should be fit, should be back in contention. So I think he'll come back in, to just give us hopefully a bit of physical presence up there. Hopefully a bit more than he did in the FA Cup game when we played there.
I like that team, apart from maybe Ander Herrera. I thought he sort of went missing in that last game, and I thought maybe it was to do with his fitness, but we'll see. Adam, who are you starting against Wolves, mate?
It's hard to kind of predict because it's coming so quick on the back of the game against Watford, and obviously we've got a few injuries. David De Gea in goal. Shaw, his pass, by the way, the other day was amazing.
Unreal.
Ashley Young, Lindelof, Smalling. Matic was bad the other day. The whole midfield was pretty rubbish the other day. So hopefully we see an improvement in them. But I'd go Fred, Herrera and Pogba, Get some passes in there. I don't really expect much of a physical. I know Jimenez up top can be physical presence. I don't know what kind of changes they're going to make with the FA Cup game in mind. But I don't think we really need Matic's physical presence for this game, and I don't think it offers much apart from that. Now, I know Fred's not been great, but I'd like to see him given a goal. And I like Lingard and Martial. And then I think Rashford might get a rest, So I agree with Peaky in Lukaku up top. I'd like to see Rashford fully fit because I'd still go with Rashford, but you can tell he's carrying something.
I think Fred really does deserve a start soon. And I think when he played the Arsenal game, he played really well. I know that we didn't necessarily play too well, but I thought he had quite a good game there and deserves a game in this one. Noel, who are you starting in this one for United?
De Gea in goals, obviously. Then Shaw on the left, Lindelof, Smalling, Young. Then Pogba, Matic and Herrera. And Lingard in this time. And I think Rashford and Martial up front.
Okay then, opposition. Let's talk about Wolverhampton in a little bit more depth. They've had a great season this season. Some unbelievable results there at the Molineux, including one in the FA Cup that we won't talk about. 7th in the league, playing great football. Adam, what do you know?
You used to live there, guys.
I lived there for like 4 months. God, it's a shithole. And I know shitholes.
Yeah, Wolves are very good, man. They play very good football. Like we saw with Watford, I think Watford and Wolves are the best teams outside of the traditional top 6. And the only thing that gives me a little bit of confidence going into this game that they may not be at the race is the FA Cup game coming up. Will they rest a few players? Will we see Ruben Neves, Jimenez rested maybe? I think that's a possibility. So I'm not kind of sure what to expect from them if they make changes because you kind of the main players, what they play with. But if they don't play them, how will they play? Will they still approach it the same way? So it's an interesting one ahead, but they're a very, very good team and they're going to give us a big game.
Peaky, talk to me about Wolverhampton.
First, you completely agree with what Adam said. They are kind of like the best of the rest, if you like, apart from outside of that top 6. I think 100% agree with Adam. You're not really sure what to expect if they do rest their kind of big players because they're the ones who had the biggest impact and pretty much run the game when we played them in the FA Cup. So obviously, I think we're hoping that they do rest a few with one eye on their semi-final and looking at a cup final. But if I think if they do kind of look to play with momentum and play with them key players, then I think we just need players to come in and get a bit of a grip of the game. We didn't at all last time, taking too long on the ball. There was no kind of tempo to the game either. So I suppose whoever Wolves play, United, one thing we need to do is just get some tempo into the game. Last time round, we let their midfield dominate a lot of the play. So need to try and keep them under wraps.
Really unnerves me, the idea of, in any scenario, any situation, Wolves resting players against Man United. That just doesn't feel right, and I still feel like they might go with a full-strength team. What do you reckon,
Did you hear what
Noel?
Neil Warnock said?
What?
So after Neil Warnock got done over by the refs yesterday, in the Cardiff game against, who did they play? Chelsea. He said that as retaliation to the Premier League and the FA, he's going to field his 23s against City.
Oh wow! I'd love to see it happen, but I don't think he'll be in
He's
the
like,
job much longer if it does.
The referees are always deciding the game, so I'm just going to play him under 23s.
What a day to be a Cardiff under 23 that would be. Right, Noel, what can you tell me about Wolverhampton then? Do you think they're going to go full strength?
Yeah, no, I do agree with the lads. I think they will hopefully rest players, as hard as it is to say that. But no, they were beaten by Burnley, so they are going to want to go all guns blazing into this game. But I do think that playing Watford on Sunday is more important to them. I don't think they're going to have any chance of getting Europa League football at all. So they're going to want to go into Sunday with their best players and fully fit. But if they don't do that, we just have to make sure that we don't play the same way we did against them in the FA Cup, because I think we only started to play proper football in the last few minutes of the game. It was too late. And I think this game is way more important to us than it is to them. So we need to make sure we get the job done.
Okay then, Noel, what do you reckon the score is going to be?
I'm going to go into it saying 2-1 to us. So hopefully it happens.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be tight. Peaky, what do you reckon, pal?
Unfortunately, I think we might drop a couple of points tomorrow night. Yeah, hate to say it. I think I'm going to go for 1-1.
1-1. Oh, don't like people predicting draws on previews. Adam, what you saying, mate?
I was going to say 2-1 with that mix, so I'll go 1-0 United.
That's rubbish. That's rubbish, because I was going to say 2-1, and then I was going to say 1-0.
3-0, guys. 3-0.
It's going to have to be 3-2, because I think we're going to because I don't think there's going to be many goals, but I think we're going to win by 1 goal. So I'm just going to copy Adam and just go with 1-0, I think. Right, guys, before we finish today, does anyone here have something they want to plug? Peaky, where can people find you?
Thank you very much. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Peaky Pundit. Give it a like, follow, and subscribe.
Noel, where are you at?
YouTube is Noel Francisco, and on Instagram it's mfrancisco90. So check it out.
Go and check it out. Adam, where can people find you, pal?
FullTimeDEVILS, isn't it?
Oh, right, okay, yeah. That is new information.
As well. Go check that out. Subscribe today. Sure. But,
get in the comments below if you agree or disagree with anything we've said in today's preview. And give us a like and a subscribe if you've not already. Why have you not already? Go and do it. We'll catch you next time. Laters.